Welcome back to the Iowa Chill Show. It is October 14th. I'm Nathan Creeps, joined by my co-host, Mr. Bortscheller. All is right in the world again here, especially in the state of Iowa. I don't know who said they want to fire Kirk Ferentz. I never said it. I want him to stay as long as the program is alive. With 200 victories, we'll be jumping into that because, Bryce, I know you were in Iowa City this weekend. But before we get to the game, give me the scoop, brother. What have you been up to?
Nate, were we a little too early to say fire Kirk Ferentz?
I am every year, and he's got us right where he wants us. I said that in the last episode.
You
After
did.
I said I want him fired, I said this is exactly where he wants us.
Yeah, we're coming off the first tailgate in Iowa City. It was a freaking awesome atmosphere. We were sitting right outside the stadium. We'd hear a big cheer and then we'd see it on the TV. So that was awesome. And as you said, as soon as you say fire Kirk Ferentz, it's like, let me rattle off a few wins.
Man, I can't wait to get into this game. I'm just excited again. It's October. The weather's finally changed. We're here. It's cool outside, baby. Clones are looking good. Just an exciting time for the state of Iowa, especially when it comes to the football world. I had my 10-year reunion this last Friday. I've been so I went
God dang, we're getting
Algona.
old, aren't we?
Yep, I know it is. It's a little scary. We didn't have our 5-year reunion, so I haven't seen some of my classmates in 10 years. So we had our 10-year up in Algona. Went there Friday night. Went to the home of the world's largest Cheeto. That's where we had our dinner before the
One of the
football
all-time
game.
landmarks in all of Iowa, by the way.
And I told you the owners don't like it that very much. And I asked, "Hey, we're gonna take a class picture. Can we get the world's largest Cheeto in this picture?" Yeah, we can go get it. We got it, and people just trashed on it forever. It came in this big glass jar, probably about a foot and a half tall.
It's a
It,
nasty
it's,
little
it's
nugget of a Cheeto,
It
isn't
looks
it?
like one. If you open up that glass, if you gave 1 mile per hour breeze of wind, it was going to
Yep.
powder if it made any contact with it. But it's good. It's good to see the classmates. Some people are doing some big things. A few of the classmates have been listening to the show. So shout out
Oh,
to Shift
awesome.
Key, my boy Corey Whiter. He says this huge Iowa State fan. I can't believe he's stuck with us for this long. So the fact that he is tuning in and enjoying us, keeping up to date with us, we're gonna give the Cyclones a little bit more loving. So shout out to you, Shift. All right.
Love
Thanks for
hearing that
watching the
classmates
show.
are listening to the show. That's dope. The not so subtle jabs to the Iowa State fans every week have to get a little bit old, but at the same time, it's going to get really hard to start saying anything bad about them because they're 6-0 and they're, to be honest, maybe have the best road to the college football playoff. So appreciate the classmates listening. So, how many people did you have in your graduating class?
I think 39.
Okay. We
39.
had
What about you?
we had 180, and I want to say that like not even 40 showed up to the 10-year class reunion. We had a funeral that weekend, so we weren't able to go to mine in Pella. Um, but I want to say like less than a third of the people showed up.
Hey, yeah, we had so out of 39, we had about 18ish, maybe. I didn't
Okay,
keep my count,
that's pretty good.
but yeah. So we went to the football game, watched the first half, and then we went and took a tour and in the school because like we talked about on last episode, and you leave for a year, and all of a second it's the LA Lakers came to
Right.
town and built a new facility. So it's cool to see all the updated facilities there, and a lot of things have changed. But at the same time, it hasn't changed. You felt monstrous walking through the hallways. I did get that feeling. I must have been tiny in high school.
For sure. And then just your perspective has gotten so much bigger, probably. And, I actually feel bad. I would love to go back to a reunion. I plan on going back to one. The 10-year, it feels like it's more fun because things have actually happened. People have established a career, families. The 5-year, I was like, I'm still hanging out with a lot of these people still.
Right.
Um, Eventually, I will go to one because it's going to be fun to see people 15, 20 years down the road. But yeah, it's funny how you go back to your hometown and everything feels smaller just because the perspective has changed. But glad you went back. Glad you had a good time, and glad we have some Algona listeners.
Yeah, yeah. And we stayed there for a little bit. Then we had to head back to Cedar Falls to get some shut eye rest for the 4 a.m. wake up call to get to Iowa City to tailgate. It sounds like we're really excited to get into some football here. But before that, Bryce, I got your Iowa fact of the day.
I can't
You
wait.
ready for this one? Okay. How many miles total? If you were to take all the gravel roads in Iowa and put them in one line, how many miles do you think it would be?
So last week was Rivers, and I was so far off. I want to say I said something like 4,000, and it was like 40,000. Gravel roads has to be similar, if not a lot more. I've seen that map that maps out all the gravel roads. So I'm going to go with 70,000 miles of gravel roads.
Much better guess than your last guess from last weekend, but Bryce, you are about 45,000 miles off. We have 115,000 miles of gravel roads in Iowa. And
When
a
you think of
reminder that
Iowa, you think of corn and gravel roads. So that makes a ton of sense.
so it makes up 58% of all the roads or all the road miles in Iowa. And a reminder that the Earth is 24,901 miles around the Earth. So you can get around the Earth 4.6 times with the gravel roads in Iowa. And if you were to say, fuck it, let's go to space, let's go to the moon, you could get about halfway to the moon with all the gravel roads.
Crazy.
238,000 miles to get to the moon, and we are 115,000 miles way up there. At that point, let's just finish it off. Let's build more gravel roads and get to the moon.
Have you ever heard that question? Like, if you could have a lifetime statistic that is almost impossible to track, but you could know what that statistic is. I'd like to know how many miles of gravel road I've traveled in my 28 years of life. Be interesting.
I now that I'm in Cedar Falls, not as much as I used to when I was back in Plagona.
For sure. Growing up, a ton more. The only time I really go on a gravel road now is when I'm using Apple Maps versus Google Maps. I feel like for some reason, Apple Maps just brings you to a gravel road because it's like, oh, trust me, it's 4 or 5 minutes faster. Like, I don't really care. I'd rather stay on a paved road.
Yeah, and well, especially this year because God, my cousin just sent me this morning. We're like the driest we've been since that's the 1838 or something like that.
Yeah.
And as I've been preaching on the show, and all my friends know it, I am the dome, and I have another statistic here to back it up. So just how dry has it recently been? This is courtesy of the North NWS Des Moines Weather Station Twitter account. From September 1st through October 13th, Des Moines has recorded its fifth driest period since 1878, with only 0.8 inches of rain. During the same period, Waterloo, my area, is the second driest with only 0.45 inches of rain.
It's crazy. It's almost like Dust Bowl level. Actually, it's more. I mean,
1878.
that's insane. I know that like 31 counties are under a burn ban currently. I think it's been great for crops. I think it's like a record year for crops. Unfortunately, corn's not very priced very well for farmers, but I think everyone's growing really well.
I
That
know
being said, it'd
farmers got to
probably be
get
good to
done.
have a little rain.
Right. Well, because we had that spring with nothing but rain, things were looking really promising with the time of planning. I'm going to be up farming this weekend, so I'll have to get some information for you. We'll talk a little bit how about if that's had a big impact or not on next week's episode.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pumped for you. I used to get to do that with my grandparents up in Northwest Iowa. Honestly, like one of the coolest things if you get a chance to do it. I know that there was some video last fall of Brock Purdy helping out his wife at their family farm, and just like one of those really cool experiences if you ever get to do it. And I'm kind of pumped that you get to do that now. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I dedicate one weekend out of every year, and it works out perfect because Iowa has a night game. Usually,
Oh yeah,
last year I had to watch the Purdue in the combine when Iowa played Purdue. The year before that was Ohio State. So I finally get the joy putting some corn into a semi and
yeah,
drink some beer because
yeah.
sunset's damn early now.
This is only going to be relatable to farmers, but some of my fondest memories are those Saturdays. You wake up early, help Grandpa get the combine and the tractors ready, and listening to Gary Dolphin on the radio. Just one of those like all time peak Iowa memories that I'll have forever.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna do some Iowa news here, but you might have a special segment for
We
us, a
do.
little something new here to spice it up.
Nate, do you mind if we do a new segment called Character Melee?
Baptize me by fire.
Cool. This is going to be kind of an interesting mixture of a segment where you're going to get two fictional characters, sometimes real life characters, pitted against each other. And it's going to be very surface level knowledge. You wouldn't really know this unless you chose to Google it. So I'm going to start you off with kind of a softball. Who is heavier, Shrek or the Hulk?
Uh, so I was just watching some Instagram reels, but right before I got on, and there's this new viral reel going around that Shrek, but it was The Rock Johnson, and they made him look like Shrek, and it fits so well. So who's here? God, obviously muscle. It's got to
Yep,
be
you
the
got to
Hulk,
think.
right?
Yep, you got to think muscle mass.
But I don't care how big Shrek's belly is. You want to give Shrek the benefit of the doubt with a little weight on him, but yeah, Hulk here,
Yeah, you ding
especially when
ding
he
ding
gets
ding.
veiny.
You're 1 for 1. The Hulk is roughly a metric ton, and Shrek is about 350 pounds. So just a heavy-weighted, tall ogre out in the swamp. Question number 2: Who is taller, Mario or Luigi?
Luigi.
Yeah, and it's not even close. Mario is about 5'1", and
Awesome.
Luigi's towering at 5'9".
I was scared you're gonna hit me some weird statistic or weird loophole there.
Nope.
My
Just
life would have been a lie.
fastballs right down the middle. Third question. You're 2-0. Who is wealthier, Iron Man, also known as Tony Stark, or Bruce Wayne, the Batman?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
It's a good one.
Because I've been to Hollywood, I've seen Tony Stark's house from afar, and I always thought while watching, like, this guy's so rich. But it's, oh man, I don't know, dude. But I love Batman. Only because I love Batman that much more. I'm gonna go Batman.
Yeah, I think I would have said that too. They make Bruce Wayne seem like a freaking business mogul. It's actually Iron Man, and this is according to one Google source, so this could be completely incorrect, but Iron Man allegedly is a 100 billion net worth, and Bruce Wayne is right around that 10 billion. So
I think there's
both
so
know
much
it
more
greatly.
hidden money. There's so much more hidden money in Batman's life that you don't know about.
I know.
He could
Think
be a
about
trillionaire.
all the
He would never
government
flaunt it.
contracts.
Iron Man's gonna flaunt it right in front of you.
Yep.
Until Batman gets in a ship, he's not flaunting it. He's got some caves. He's got hidden.
That's true.
I think that's exactly what Batman wants us to know. He wants us to think that Iron Man's richer.
That's a great
So
point.
I'm gonna stick with my guess that it's Batman.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say 2-0 with an undecided. Final question here. We're going to bring it back to real life characters. Who finished with the most high school career points? Audie Crooks or Caitlin Clark?
I'm gonna go Audie Crooks because Audie Crooks made the state championship all 4 years, and yeah,
Yep.
and
Extra
I know
games.
Caitlin Clark made it. I don't even know if she ever made it to the state.
Nope, she never won the state title, and I believe Caitlin is 4th on the list, and Audie is 2nd, if I'm remembering that
If
correctly.
I had to guess, F. Ellie Ruffridge from Pocahontas would have to be first.
Yep, she's still number 1.
I had to guess.
Yeah. Yep. Nate, that was a great segment. Thanks for playing along. Look forward to doing more of those. You did great.
I'm pretty impressed with myself.
Yeah,
got
you
me
did
pumped
good.
up on this Sunday. Damn. We almost need to do a whole podcast where you just ask me questions if I'm feeling this juicy right now.
Maybe we do something for Halloween.
Halloween episode. Is Halloween on a Monday this year?
Yeah. No. It'll be, I think, midweek. Let me look at the calendar quick. But
never mind.
it'll be
It's,
after
Thursday.
our Halloween party. So yeah, it looks like Thursday the 31st.
So when's our Halloween party again? The 25th?
Friday the 25th.
Okay, so October 28th will be our next, or we're gonna dress up. I'm looking at my Halloween costume right now. It's good. I love it a lot. We'll do October 28th. So not next week's episode, but the week after, we'll be dressed up in our costumes. So we'll do a whole Halloween segment.
Pumped for that. I got mine
Ranking
coming
our
this
top
Friday.
7 Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The boys have made their deadlines. I put some deadlines on the boys.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have an idea for what you're going to wear for Halloween by the first week of October, and you don't order your costume by the second week of October, I tell people that they fail.
Yeah, and you do, because a lot of the times you're relying on those shipping times to come before Halloween parties, and it doesn't ever happen. I kind of lucked out. I ordered exactly when you reminded me on this pod last week, and I think I'm going to be in the clear. I'm pumped for you to see it. Hopefully it turns out. Not a lot of makeup involved, thank God. I've had a little bit of that.
The one problem with Halloween is when you're getting your costume, is it going to be? Last year was freezing, bro.
Yeah.
And I was in scrubs. I was the nursing home dude from Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was froze.
Yeah. I need a warm Halloween. I am going to be freezing.
Wait till you see mine.
Yeah, this is probably the least amount of clothing I've worn in maybe any Halloween costume ever. So
the good news is that we will be pre-gaming downtown Cedar Falls instead of a couple miles away. So I think that should make things a little bit easier.
Yep. We should be able to sprint over to the bar scene. That'll be helpful.
All right, should we jump into a little Iowa news here?
Yep, let's do it.
Nothing too exciting, but there's someone in Webster City that purchased a Powerball ticket for $1 million that has not been claimed yet.
$1 million just sitting on the table.
I need to go to Webster City and make friends with as many people as I possibly can until this ticket is claimed.
Do you know why those don't usually get claimed? I have no idea. I feel like I hear this every once in a while. I never know why that money's not getting claimed.
I Did they just not know it? Did they just purchase it? They just no way I won this. Never checked it. I've done it before. So when I don't buy lottery tickets very often, but when I do, I never even check to see if I won. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, you and Jeremy are habitual Powerball buyers, and I guess I know I don't really do it, so I don't really know what to look for, and I'm definitely never watching the announcement. So you're probably right. It's they just don't know that they've won.
Well, let's say that you were the guy in Webster City, Bryce. You get the $1 million ring up. What are you doing with this money? I'm guessing you're probably gonna take home 650,000 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm buying a plot of land in Polk City or Van Meter and reinvesting into the Iowa Chill Empire. This podcast gets probably 100K worth, a whole studio. Maybe we can meet halfway somewhere in the middle. Hell, maybe we build it in Webster City, just neutral ground, and start building the empire.
We're on the same boat right now, brother. I'm picking you up, and you and I are going to Hawaii with as much equipment as we possibly can
Yep.
right away. We would go today. I'm saying we're not waiting. I don't care what you got for the rest of the week. We're picking up. We're going to Hawaii. We're going to do a live show down in Hawaii.
Yep.
Mess around for a little bit. Might go to a Hawaii football game this upcoming weekend. That's what I just do it.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where the life takes us after the Hawaii.
I love that.
Always
Well,
want to go to Hawaii.
unfortunately, I don't think I'm the winner. But maybe I'll start buying. I don't know. It just seems like one of those things that if you're not even trying, there's no chance to win.
Right. Jeremy and I've always had these good talks, but onto another Iowa news here. Connor Stalions, a very familiar name when it comes to the college football world. The Mr. Sign Stealer, who led Michigan to their national championship last year. He was kicked off the team before the end of the season, full of the John Harbaugh stuff. Is it Jim Harbaugh? Jim Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
Is Jim Harbaugh okay right now, by the way? Did you see he had to go to medical tent?
No, I didn't see that. Did he get hit
Yeah.
on the sideline? And
So when I'm checking my CBS apps, I'm looking at my fantasy players, like injury update, like a player. Also, injury update. Jim Harbaugh has been to the medical tent.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happens. I haven't heard anything since then, so I think he's okay. But back to the main point. Connor Stalions was on a podcast last week talking about someone asked him, like, who else has sign stealers? They asked him. Like, he's like, everyone. He's like, there's only 2 teams I know that does not have sign stealing. It's Michigan State and Iowa.
Interesting. He called us out.
And that's the last thing. And I said when we first started our podcast, the very first episode this year was when talking about Kirk Ferentz getting suspended for finally cheating.
Right.
And I said, I want more of that. I want more cheating going on because everybody else is doing it. If you're not cheating, you're in last place.
You're not even trying.
And then the cheaters calling us out for not cheating.
Uh-huh. They know, everyone knows that we're 2 straight laced, and for that reason, they have the edge. So that was such an interesting topic for me because I'm like, everyone willingly gives over their film every week. And that, like, having an actual scout go and like scout practice, go scout games, and like, track the signs, that's just another level of it. It's definitely dirty, but it's so close to what already kind of happens. And I might be completely wrong on this, but I feel like why was it so much more of a big deal?
A big deal that Stalions got caught?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because pictures were popping up that he was on like opposing team sidelines during like the upcoming game.
See, that's too far.
That's a little far fetched.
Yeah.
Stallions went a little crazy. I'm sure they'll let you kind of, unless if you're Kirk Ferentz, if you do one wrong thing, for some reason he gets freaking punished. The most straight A student ever. I don't know. I think Stallions just took it a little bit far. He went a little derailment.
I mean, that makes sense. Like there's definitely the fine line, the gray line, and he might have been in the black there. I understand that.
We need to find someone that we can dedicate to deciphering other teams' codes in some capacity. Come on, Iowa. I'm asking you to cheat for me a little bit.
I don't think that's too much to ask for. We're in the era where basically everything goes in college football. So can we get a guy like that? It doesn't need to be Stallions, but just a little bit of cheating to make the Hawkeyes have a little bit more of an edge. I'm with you.
Last Thursday, did you take a peek up to the sky? Thursday night?
I did. Yeah.
The Northern Lights were in town again, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We were at your house actually earlier this summer, and we caught a glimpse of them up in Denver, Iowa. They were kind of all over in Iowa this last Thursday.
That was yeah, I remember that happening last year, and my bedtime's super early. They weren't hitting until like 11 o'clock. So I
Mhm.
tried seeing from 9 to 10. Obviously, that didn't work, but my brother went and saw them. But you had to look a little further north last year to see them. This time
Mhm.
they're right above you.
Just all
Crazy.
over
I think that's
Central Iowa,
really the
even.
first time I've ever seen the Northern Lights.
It was cool.
And I'm like, so I got a picture for my brother. The camera did more justice, which
Yes.
usually never takes place. The camera did more justice than what you actually saw in person. But I
hmm
saw that picture for my brother. I'm like, oh man. So I hopped out of bed, went and looked at it for like 5 seconds. I'm like, this is really cool. And I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm going to bed.
Right. That's exactly it. And sometimes like that's where the picture is worth 1,000 words because you can just kind of go back and see it, and you don't need to spend an hour. It's kind of like the eclipse. Like the eclipse is fun for like the exact amount of time that it lasts, and then like if it was any longer, it'd probably stop being exciting.
Yeah, the problem with the eclipse. Someone's backing on my driveway. Who's this dude? Uh, thing about the eclipse, if you don't see the total eclipse, it's not worth it.
No, no.
I've actually seen the total solar eclipse boot cut. And I drove down and we drove through 3 states trying to find a non-clouded area, and we got clouded, but it was still cool.
Yeah,
This year was like a 95% in Iowa, and it's such a big difference. So if
yeah.
you're ever gonna do the eclipse, if you're within a 2 hour range of it, make the trip. It's worth it.
Yeah, it was kind of cool to see everything get like it's almost like the twilight zone. It would be really cool to see 100% eclipse because you could tell it wasn't like fully covered, but it definitely got into that like twilight zone weird hazy look, which was fun.
Uh huh. Yeah, it feels a little weird for sure. Here we go, baby. Iowa State
Yeah,
since is it 1937 is the last time they've been 6-0 out of
I
38.
let
I
me
think it's
check. I
1938.
literally think that we have a
38.
post going out right now that says first time since. Let's see here.
1938, just a couple of years before World War II started. Maybe that's a sign for World War III.
Yeah,
When Iowa State goes 6-0, the world is on brink of starting on World War. Nuclear bombs going everywhere.
it feels weird at the same
Seems about
time.
right though.
It feels awesome. I'm really excited for Iowa State fans. I think it's well deserved. I think they're winning the games that they're supposed to. And yes, I would prefer it to be the Hawkeyes, but it's fun to have the state of Iowa buzzing. Coming off a big Iowa bounce back win and then having Iowa State with a huge win on the road, like it feels better in the state of Iowa. Victory Mondays are there's no better feeling.
Last week you said, "Fuck it, I'm done disbelieving in these
hmm
guys. I'm hopping on Iowa State." I was still 1 week out from really believing in them.
Yeah.
I learned two things this week: the Big 12, and when I mean Big 12, half the Big 12, at least three-fourths, maybe three-fourths of the Big 12. But teams like West Virginia are not very good.
Correct.
That was not good. The other thing I learned, Iowa State, they are good.
Iowa State is good.
They're even West Virginia opened up the game with a touchdown
hmm
rush right down the field. It was like a 14 play drive. Looked pretty promising. Iowa State didn't get scared. They
No.
threw it to one of the top players, Jalen Noel, for what, 75-yard untouched touchdown pass. Rocco Beck going 18 for 26, 265 yards and a touchdown. He hasn't been anything super phenomenal
Nope.
this year. He's just been really good.
Yes.
Yeah, consistent stats like that. When it's time to get your ball to the best player, that's what Iowa State does better than anyone I've seen.
Yep.
Than a couple of maybe the top tier teams in the state and college football right now. They deliver the punch when the punch has been delivered to them.
Yep. And that's what I'm starting to see when they go down against Baylor, when they go down against West Virginia. There's an immediate punchback. And that's what you see in good teams. I'll be honest with you. I watched a little bit of that first drive. I heard that West Virginia was marching again on the second drive, and then Iowa State ends up blocking a field goal. Um, I was completely enamored with the Ohio State and Oregon game. So I didn't watch the rest of that Iowa State game. I had total faith. I knew that they were going to come away for the Mountaineers with a victory. But I watched one of the best games in college football history instead of Iowa State. And I'm going to be first to admit that, hand up. I did not watch the Iowa State game very much.
Uh, they really need to. It was no scare. I thought the crowd wasn't as good as I expected Morgantown to be. They must have had a little too much moonshine there all day. Must have drawn themselves out. Not a good year for West Virginia right now. Jalen Noel, 5 receptions, 77 yards, 1 tutty. Jaden Higgins, 6 receptions for 102 yards. Key players making key plays. Again, we've been talking about him all year. Abu Sama, where is this guy? 2 carries for 6 yards. I know Hansen had like 109 yards. Osama's a third string dude right
Yeah,
now, which
it's
is
I would say three-headed monster at running back, but it's like the three-headed pillow monster. It's like three pretty decent running backs, but I think that they're at the benefit of playing against not great run games. So that Abu Sama prediction we made back in August is just truly not going to come true. But it's cool to see
so.
other guys step up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to know that you have a little depth there. EA Sports wants to play in NCAA football this year. One of my brother's dynasties, he said in every dynasty he played in, Abu Sama would transfer like 3 or 4 times
Interesting.
throughout his dynasty. So, and it was the same thing with a bunch of those other buddies. So, I think they might predict this.
Yeah, it's maybe
Is Abu
EA
Sama
Sports
going to
knew something.
transfer
Well,
of his?
either way, it's nice to have options. Later in the season, you're prone to injury, so it's going to be good. I think in the long run that they have three running backs that they can rely on.
Up next, another night game. I don't know if this is the 4th or 5th one in a row for Iowa State. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. University of Central Florida comes to town. The beginning of the year, you were looking at this one like, yeah, this is going to be arguably the biggest home game at Iowa State this year.
Yeah.
It's not looking like it so much right now. Iowa State 12-point favorites. I'm not even worried about this game.
No, I think I saw almost even closer to 2 touchdowns. I would think this is a pretty handy victory for them, especially the way they're rolling. They just look like the better team with momentum going their way.
Yeah, so I don't even think we need to go too in depth about that. I think Iowa State takes care of business with another night game coming to Jack Trice, moving the Cyclones to 7-0. They're number 9 in the country right now.
Yeah, congrats on top 10. That's freaking awesome. Good to see that.
Iowa whoops Washington, and I had a good day. What a perfect day. Perfect weather. Iowa takes care of business. And it's so refreshing to see Iowa versus Washington out in Kinnick State than Rutgers or Illinois or Purdue taking the field. So much more excitement, seeing new fans. I talked to a lot of Washington Husky fans, some good people that made the trip. They loved Kinnick Stadium. They said when the schedule came out this year, they highlighted Iowa.
Yeah.
They knew good things about Kinnick Stadium. They wanted to make the trip to Iowa City. It's God, I love this new conference realignment. This is fun. Speaking of the Ohio State and Oregon game,
the fact that we're going to get to see Ohio State, Penn State, USC, all those freaking great matchups, like that brings a breath of fresh air to the Big Ten. That's something I'm not seeing from the Big 12. Some of those games I think that people had circled are now, some of the UCFs and the Utahs are starting to drop off. The Big Ten's only heating up. Oregon looks great. USC looks good. Penn State barely ekes out a win against them. It was so fun to see. Surprisingly, I saw a lot of purple. Like you were saying, you met some Washington fans. There was a lot of purple in Iowa City, which was a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. Caleb Johnson did his thing again, 21 attempts for 166 yards, 2 tutties on the ground, baby.
Yep.
And give me a little a receiving touchdown for 19 yards to add to his tallies.
Without Ashton Genty from Boise State, I think we'd be talking about Caleb Johnson potentially in the Heisman conversation. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be very tough for any running back to win the Heisman Trophy. It's a quarterback trophy. But both these players are having insane careers, insane seasons, and insane careers. I think Caleb's going to be competing for Monty Balls and what's his name from Melvin Gordon's record for the Big Ten.
Cade McNamara goes 8 for 14, 108 yards and 2 touchdowns. I need to start calling for every player to lose their job before they play the next game. Nothing spectacular, but that's all I've ever wanted him to do.
Yep.
He made some plays. Just when you can pass it just a little bit, it opens up everything. I mean, special teams looked great. Our defense was solid there, especially in the second half. Drew Stevens was 4-4 from field goals. Reese Dakin, baby, the punter from down under.
He looked great.
2 punts for an average of 58 yards, one going for 61. We got another punter. He's looked awesome ever since we called for his job early in the season. I'm calling for everybody's job. You're fired. Hawks got us right where they want us, baby. 40-16 dub. What a commanding win for the Hawks.
Yep.
A much needed win on much needed win for a game where you absolutely needed it more than anything. You lose, the season's done. Hawks back against the wall. They prevail. Kirk Ferentz getting his 200th dub of his career.
Congrats to Kirk. And that's the testament to a senior coaching staff. When you're on the hot seat and everyone's calling for your head and the players are, hey, let's get more Brendan Sullivan in there. How about we get some new receivers? All of a sudden, everybody steps up and plays great. And to me, that's a coaching seniority thing. When you have the guys ready to play after a big loss and you rebound like that, that's impressive. And that's the reason why Kirk sticks around. Like, we'll be sitting probably at the end of the season 8-4, 9-3, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of rebuilding programs that don't get to say that.
Absolutely. It gives me a little Bo Pelini vibes,
Mm-hmm.
the consistent 93 season, and then they fire him, and then
Mm-hmm.
look what Nebraska's gone to. I mean, that's one thing you obviously got to think about. But nonetheless, we'll move forward. Congratulations to Kirk Ferentz and the Hawks. That's what I'm talking about. Up next at Michigan State, night game, 6:30 on the Peacock. Hawks going into, I think, in a scary situation. I think they should take care of them just because of the walk-off Cooper DeJean punt return last year. I think Michigan State's going to be a little fired up about that one.
Yeah, I would think so too. And they look better than years past. They have struggled. I think they've gotten themselves back to a 500 record, and this is not one to overlook. I think the next few games for Iowa are winnable, but they're not going to be just, you can't sleepwalk into victory here.
The one thing about this last game is that Iowa finally played 4 quarters of football, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can give me that, I feel really good about going to Michigan State. I think it's no problem.
Yeah.
Now, am I going to get that team? I don't know. Even with the second half performance or first half performance, I still think we squeak by them, or not squeak by them, but I still think we beat them okay. But I hate playing at Michigan State, especially in that game. It's going to be a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll give me Hawks by 10.
Okay. I didn't see what the official Vegas line was, but I would 6. Okay. I think that's fair. All-time Michigan game. I think it was 2009. Ricky Stanzi to Marvin McNutt slant pass for the victory. I think it's at least a touchdown victory. But like I said, you don't sleepwalk into this. Nate, before you move on to your next segment, I did want to ask one thing that maybe could have been important if we had lingered around with Washington a little bit more. That field goal right before half that looked like it was outside the upright. The official said that they couldn't review it, and they ended up calling it good. Did you have any opinion on that play?
So I haven't gone back and watched the game. No, because Iowa did the same thing apparently. Since I sit north and I sit east and west, I don't have a direct view at the field goal post. It's hard for me to tell from the stands. I kind of when teams kick field goals, I watch our fans in the behind the field goal.
Okay.
I don't watch the ball itself. I watch the fans' reactions. I've always done that to see if it's good or not.
Fair.
But clearly, it sounded like you missed it. But it sounds like even Drew Stevens' field goal was even worse.
Okay.
Called that one
Yeah.
good. I do want to talk about that though, real quick. Since when has Iowa never not knelt it in that situation?
I know.
Going in the half with the lead, we pitched it to Caleb Johnson, made a play. What an unreal run right there to keep. Instead of going out of bounds, he jukes back, cuts it up the middle for an extra 17 yards in the middle, and we kicked the field. That was such a momentum killer for Washington.
Yeah, like it looks like it's about to be a 7-point game. Our whole tailgate was calling for it. It's like, oh yeah, here goes Kirk about to kneel the ball. He doesn't, and look what happens. It's not that you have to be spread offense, running gun with 20 seconds left. I think that's not what anybody's saying, but look what happens when you do take a chance. You have that pitch play to Caleb, and all of a sudden you're in field goal range. Like,
you give your best ball player the ball to make a potential play happen, and that's why you have these key impact players like Iowa State has and what they've done.
Do you think this is a Tim Lester influence on Ferentz a little bit?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Tim Lester has revamped this offense. I know we had 20 touchdowns through 14 games last year.
Okay.
We have 20 touchdowns through 6 games.
Yeah, it's just a different
this year. Clearly something is different.
Yeah, when you see the over-under on Iowa games more in the 42 to 45 range, it's like something's changed. And I like to think that it's a Tim Lester change for sure.
And now you're seeing all these, like last night in Monday Night Football, Tyrone Tracy Jr., Tyler Goodson for the Indianapolis Colts. All these players are all – Iowa's got a shit ton of guys in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you're telling me we had the worst offense ever?
All the tight ends, all the sneaky skill players scoring touchdowns in the NFL. It's like, guys, it came down to schematics. Like, we're not putting our playmakers exactly what you're saying about Iowa State. When you need a punchback, you throw it to your skill players. Find a way to get the ball in their hands. So, I mean, I'm not sure what the missing link was. It seems like we're on the right track here.
Yeah, we definitely are. Shout out to
Tim
Lester. And, man, what a great weekend of football. Hopefully a better weekend coming up here for both night games for the in-state teams. Bryce, let's move into our locked bets of the week.
All right.
I'm going
Sounds
to hit
good.
you with my number one right here. I'm really excited about this one. Give me Tennessee to cover 2.5 versus the Crimson Tide of Alabama.
I'm riding right with you. That's my number one as well. I think we've seen a little bit of a weakness from Alabama the last 2 weeks. They give up one to Vanderbilt, and they almost give up one this past weekend too. I forget who they were playing. Looked like South Carolina, maybe. Looked like South Carolina had a chance to tie it with a 2-point conversion at the end of the game. I love that 2.5. I think Tennessee is trending up. I think Alabama's trending down.
Illinois cover 1 point versus Michigan. And by the way, speaking of Michigan, they're still ranked 24th. That's an absolute bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
They get beat by Washington. Iowa destroys Washington. Michigan also got destroyed by Texas, and they're still ranked 24th.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
It's just not the same Michigan team, and they don't deserve to be in the top 25.
Illinois, +1, baby. At
Cool.
home, too.
I got Texas money line over Georgia. I think this is probably the best game. I keep saying this because we've seen Ohio State and Oregon. We've seen Georgia and Alabama. This is the next best game of the season. Really excited to see what Texas actually is made of. I think they were playing against an Oklahoma team in that Red River shootout that had a freshman quarterback. 4 or 5 of their receivers were out. This is going to be the first true test for Texas. I'm really excited to see how they match up against the Bulldogs.
Georgia's going to give Texas welcome to the SEC.
Yep.
So we'll see. I think I do like Texas too. But that's gonna be a great game. We're gonna find out a lot from the little Longhorns here from Texas with Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning and the boys. Bryce, I'm rolling with your Hurricanes on this one, baby. You got me convinced. Give me the Hurricanes -4 at Louisville.
Love that. They've got one of the most chill quarterbacks in the whole nation. It looks like he's not even trying out there. Reminds me a little bit of LaMelo Ball when he's playing basketball. He just is so relaxed. There's pressure left to right, and he just delivers the ball. Now, his defense has kind of been a weakness. So I still like it. I'm still a Hurricane fan. You can tell I've obviously moved on to Texas now. All the Des Moines boys really riding Texas pretty hard. I like the bet, though. I think Miami covers.
Especially, it's a hurricane season, baby. Hurricanes are beating up and down Florida. I'm taking Hurricanes for the rest of the season.
Love it. My last bet's going to be something that doesn't appease Iowa football fans very much, but I do think that Nebraska covers on Indiana. I think Indiana is currently top of the Big Ten. I also think they haven't been battle tested. So I'm going with Nebraska to cover 6.5 on Indiana this week.
I was looking at that when I was trying to study it really hard. I think it's going to come down to a very close game with the final 8 minutes. I could see Indiana pulling away, maybe at the end, getting some late bull crap to cover a little bit. I don't know. That's why I didn't pick it, but I think Nebraska's for sure going to be in the game. Come towards the end of the game.
I think Nebraska gave away a game to Illinois a couple of weeks back, and it was about a touchdown. That's kind of why I like that 7. I think Illinois and Indiana are kind of set up in a similar way. It'll be a good one. And I'm really just kind of keeping an eye on Nebraska because I know that we have that big Heroes game towards the end of the season, night game after Thanksgiving. So I've kept a pretty close pulse on Nebraska, and I think that's going to be an awesome game right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Especially if Wisconsin's looking good too all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Wisconsin and Iowa both scored 40 points this last week. And you're telling me the world isn't changing, you're nuts.
Yeah. Yep. See, I mean, I'm not to take anything away from Iowa State, but I see the Big 12 dipping and I see the Big 10 heating up. Like there's a few teams right in the middle of the pack that could definitely trend upwards, and I don't think they're going to scare the college football playoff, but it's going to be teams you don't want to see on your schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I love it. It's so refreshing having the new alignment. And Iowa State is just a clear run right now in the Big 12, especially Utah getting beat again. Maybe BYU. I think it's going to be a great conference championship. Exciting times. Just go and win that. Get your job done. Iowa State's going to be favored at every single game for the rest of the season, or at least they should be. Maybe not at Utah. But I think they're a clear favorite right now.
Yeah, I agree. BYU looks like one of the hotter teams in the whole country. I think they keep winning. They'll be sniffing top 5, which is crazy to say about the Cougs, but I don't know. There's some good football. This is another one of those great weeks. So how did we do on our bets last week?
I don't even remember what I did last week.
I try not to look because usually it's not very good. But
yeah, that's to say I don't even look anymore because I'm right with you. I feel good about this week's slate, but if you know this podcast, and that's what my my classmate was talking. He's like, my favorite part is when you guys give your picks and you tell everybody to absolutely not listen to you
Yeah,
guys.
do not.
Yeah.
And this is not betting advice because this is completely vibes. And a lot of times we're throwing Iowa and Iowa State in there when clearly these are homer bets.
We are your one-way ticket to 1-800-bets off
Yep.
if you start listening to us.
Speaking of, this is not a promo, but Fanatics has like an incredible deal. So maybe off the record, I can talk to you about that and whether or not you've dabbled in the Fanatics. Bet 100, get 100.
I have not.
Yeah,
Man, we
there's
might
some
be on
money
a
to be
little
made
something.
on Fanatics.
Here we go. Favorite segment of each podcast, Bryce. We're going to be ranking the top 7 bars in Iowa, and this is the hardest one we've ever had to do.
Easily.
What we should have done. We should have done like a top 7, which we probably will do in the future. We should like a top 7 brewery, a top 7 dive bar,
Yep.
top 7 sports bar. But for the first one, we're just going to mesh it all together. I want the best bar experience, something that you think is barish of its own, and the reason to be in the top 7 here in the state of Iowa.
I'm glad you made that clarification because I kind of kept breweries out of my list. There is one, and I'm going to lead off with Clockhouse Brewing in Cedar Rapids. I had a lot of shitting on Cedar Rapids last week, but I do love the Clockhouse. They make one of the best hazy IPAs in the whole entire state, right up there with Easy Eddie from Big Grove. But it's just one of those awesome places to watch the game, the Hawkeye games. It's a lot of exposed brick, very simple beer menu. And just a good environment. Nothing crazy about it. I've had a great time there every time I've been there.
Where's that at in Cedar Rapids?
Right, it's connected to the Black Sheep, just down the road from
so
the
it's
new Big
downtown
Grove.
then.
Yep, it's downtown. So just down that, I think it's 7th Street, where that new Big Grove is.
My number 7 here is the total bar experience that is still a bar like it used to be back in the old days. Suds from Cedar Falls.
Freaking yeah!
I'm not a smoker, but it's got people ripping cigarettes into there.
If
Just
you
a
don't
good
smoke,
kind of,
that's a place where you want to smoke.
exactly. It's got such a good bar atmosphere
Mhm.
that I feel like is outdated nowadays.
Mhm.
It's still, they said, no, we're not changing. We're gonna continue to do our thing. I know women can go show some hooters there
Yes,
and
yep,
get the bra
they
hung
certainly
up.
can. Mhm.
Cool for that. So just good to see that they've kind of stuck with their own
Yep.
identity and kept away.
I mean, how many rooftop dive bars do you have in the state of Iowa? My guess is not very many. Suds has maintained true to their identity, and I'm always going to be a big fan of Suds. They didn't make my list, but I was definitely thinking about Suds when I was making my list.
Number 6, I'm going to trail back here with the back burner in Tiffin, Iowa.
Okay. Never
I
been.
got introduced a couple years ago when we lived in Tiffin, Iowa. We didn't have an option to go anywhere else because that was the only bar in Tiffin. Cool food. They always had karaoke Friday nights, big place. Just a good time. I enjoyed it. They got a sand volleyball court right in the back. So you get your full experience there again, too.
Love that. One of my favorite things about Iowa is like your favorite bars can sometimes be the only bar in town, and it sounds like that's kind of the case with the back burner. Love that. My number 6 is Brothers in Iowa City, and this is strictly off 2017 through 2022 being the number one spot to leave a tailgate in Iowa City if you're not going to the game, and then go to Brothers and watch the game with some of the most electric Iowa fans that you'll ever meet. They bring in the band the night before and have a freaking stampede of Iowa fight songs. Just one of my all-time favorite spots in Iowa City.
Yeah, I've never experienced watching a game at the Iowa City bars because I'm always been at the
There.
game. But I have been blessed with the beer band
Mhm.
on Friday nights, and that's always a great tradition that I hope never leaves the University of Iowa.
It's one of my favorites. I hope I get to do one of those watch parties again soon.
Hit us with your number 5.
Number 5, complete 180 from the first 2 I just mentioned. Bellhop Tiki Bar down in the East Village of Des Moines. This is a complete 180 because it's all foo drinks. Now, I personally get an old-fashioned, classic, straight fastball down the middle type drink, but you can get anything. They serve entire beverages out of canaries, fucking pelicans. Like they do crazy cool drinks, but you can do the straight and fast, the straight and narrow. You can grab some beers if you want to. Just a really dope tiki bar in the East Village.
Is that kind of more of like a chill vibe?
It is,
setting?
yeah. Yep.
Cool.
You wouldn't go there unless you're 25 or older.
Sounds similar for my next one here. The 300 rooftop. Actually, no.
Yeah.
And no, yeah, I know what I'm talking about, but I was thinking of the 30 hop and
Oh,
either Cedar Rapids and that almost made my list, but I'm gonna go 300 rooftop here in Des Moines. Love that place,
I do
super
too.
cool. Uh, when I'm going with what's perfect for this place, because when I go to this place, it's gonna lead right into my number 4. I'll go to 300 rooftop first, and I'm gonna make my way over to Annie's Irish Pub
Yep.
in downtown Des Moines,
hmm
and that is a recipe for a dangerous night.
Yeah, it's one of those pairings that you think of if you play The Thrill by Wiz Khalifa, then you got to play The Spins by Mac Miller. If you go to 300, you got to go to Annie's right after, and that is an elite Des Moines downtown experience. Great pick. I'm a little surprised. You might see 300 later in my list. I thought they would be a little higher on yours. My number 4 is Roxy in Cedar Falls. Main Street Cedar Falls has had an entire. Oh, you missed Roxy.
I miss one of my favorite bars. Oh
Shit.
man, that's okay. It made the list on
Yep.
yours. I'm
Th-
glad
Like you
it
said, this is
deserves it.
this is a tough week. This is a very tough ranking. Roxy in Cedar Falls is just one of many awesome things that has happened to the Cedar Falls Main Street. That historic downtown is more renovated than some historic downtowns. It's awesome. Roxy is a great spot. We'll hit that in about 14 days, maybe a little less. Just a great vibe. 80s retro themed. Lots of, you'll have a live DJ. Don't necessarily need one. On a Halloween night, you're going to be packed in the back area, playing some pool, playing some darts. Just an awesome experience.
Man, I love Roxy so much. I think if Cedar Falls wasn't growing already, that made a huge snowball effect for a great party scene downtown on Main Street.
Yep.
My is that your 3?
That was my number 4.
Okay, so you're snaking back with 3 then, I think.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 3, Captain's Getaway in Arnold's Park. If you want a little
Okay.
rooftop, if you want a little bogey, you got to stop by Captain's. You're going to have just one of those classic bogey nightlife experiences. A lot of good memories up there. Even the boys. I want to say it was a condo night. We might have had some initiation with cigarette burns that night. Just the dumb classic early 20s kind of experience at Captain's Getaway.
This list is working out really well because the ones I couldn't quite put on my list, I struggled really hard. You have on your
Okay,
list.
wonderful.
Love Captains. Captains, man, there's so many levels to it.
Mhm.
It's like to me, it's like a beating Jumanji. Can you beat the first level of the dance floor?
Yeah.
Now all right, the boys did it. Let's see if we can bring the gang up to the second floor. When you get to the second floor, I was saying you're down to half your group.
By the time
And
you've made
okay,
it to the rooftop, you barely remember who you came with.
yep, you're in a whole new group, and now you got to make not. Now you got to start. Not only got to make it to the top, you got to make it back down through the bottom. And
Right.
what a journey it is at Captains. And then if you make it out, you're right next to Bogey Knights.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
It's the land of temptation over in Arnold's Park, no doubt.
Oh jeez.
Who do you got at number 3?
Number 3, give me. This is a good Iowa bar. Alley Cats in Denver, Iowa.
Love Alley Cats.
I haven't been there like since I think we ate with Kayla and them that
Mhm.
one time.
Yeah.
It's been forever, but it's my favorite tenderloin in the state. I've been dying to go back there. It's such a good Iowa bar. I'm going off memory here, but I've been dying to go back. Every time I want to go back, we go to New Hampton up to the in-laws, and we're on our way back. I'm like, on Sunday, I say it every time. I'm like, oh, we're going to stop at Alley Cats and get a tenderloin. We're going to go and eat. I'm super pumped and get there and they're closed.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to hit Alley Cats on the right nights because typical small town bar, they can't service 7 days a week. Darian's parents actually moved to Denver, Iowa. We have not. Oh, that's not true. We went one time together, and it was probably the first time I had been back since the time we went together. Still lives up to the hype. It's a great little bar in Denver, Iowa.
They have that thing where you can buy a shot for someone in the future, and you right there. They still have that.
And and they have like a week to redeem the drink. Yeah, they still got that going.
And you write it up there. Just love it. I'm trying to get back there as soon as I possibly can.
We might need to make a group trip up to Old Alley Cats.
Number 2, we're going back to the Great Lakes of Iowa. Give me the Barefoot Bar.
Yeah. Classic.
Such a different bar in the state of Iowa. Nice beach vibe type of thing that you don't get anywhere else in the state. Great music. Just next to the boats, water.
Yep.
Babes. Good people. Good vibes.
Makes you want to get out on the boat for a few hours, come in for lunch, grab a few maybe icy cold drinks. It's a great experience. There's probably 7 or 8 bogey bars that could have made this list alone.
The Garden.
Yeah, the Garden. Yep.
That's where we get in trouble too.
Yep. Great. I love that. I love that pick. This one, for number 2 for me is one that I would strongly recommend we try the next time you come to Des Moines. Over in Grimes, Iowa, Stevie C's. This is the dive bar pick that I had, and I was between a few of them across the state. Stevie C's is your typical dive bar, stickers and quote cards lining the entire wall. The whole ceiling is fishing line dangling the beer tabs, like the pull tabs, and some of the best pizza in the whole state too. So pretty much your typical basic bar drinks, but just an all-time atmosphere. A little bit of pool, a little bit of darts, but you're going to be like shoulder to shoulder because that's about as big as the place is.
Over in Grimes, Iowa, huh?
Yep. Great spot. Highly recommend.
Bryce, my number 1. Toads on Main Street in Cedar Falls. It's my number 1 for my personal self.
Okay.
For sure. Sports bar, such a good time. Great food. Man, we always end up there too on Halloween night when Roxy's a little packed. Let's go scoot over to the Toads for a little bit. You can go there for the party vibe. You can go there for a noon o'clock Sunday kickoff time, get a couple of beers. You can go there for dinner. You can go there at any time of the day and have a great experience. But you can have all the experiences there.
Yeah.
And that's why Toads is my personal favorite bar in the state of Iowa.
That's crazy. I want to ask, I love the pick because Toads wears a lot of hats and you can pretty much go to Toads whenever. If you would included Roxy, where would you have thrown Roxy?
Number 3.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Here's the thing. If this was an extremely tough segment to do this week, if I were to do this segment all over again, I bet 5 of them might not even make the list.
Yeah, 100%. Because the problem I had too is like I was digging in the recesses of my mind. I'm like, okay, where have I been? And to think, I've had 7 or 8 years of legal drinking under my belt, and I've been to a lot of bars. So it was tough to think of all of them. But it's actually funny. My number 1 is one that you mentioned earlier. We had a lot of crossover on this list, and sometimes picked each other up off the ground. If we forgot one, I have 300 at number 1, and it really could have been anything because there's so many good spots across. I didn't even touch the Ames bars, and I'm a huge fan of the Ames bar scene. 300 makes number 1 for me because it's one of those like perfect rooftop. Like if you want the Des Moines cityscape view, just one of those like perfect, great DJs, great views. Just one of those like great places to go in Des Moines if you haven't explored that downtown scene.
I know you boys are obsessed with the 300 rooftop over there in the metro. Yeah, I didn't have either Ames or Iowa City bars on my list.
That's true.
As a whole, you could group them all together. I'm like, yeah, it's a great time.
That's true.
I absolutely love it. I just couldn't pick out any specific individual ones. We might have to do a top 7 dirty bar scenes.
Yeah.
You got someone at one probably.
Yeah.
Man, we can go down a rabbit hole with that.
Right. And that's what made this list so difficult because it's like, do I have the most fun, or is it like now that I'm a little bit more mature and I want to have a good time with, a more mature audience, do I put those on the list? So very tough list. I'm happy with your choice this week. This was a lot of fun.
I'm sorry I had to put you through that. I'm still stressed about thinking about this list. I'm glad we got through it. I'm glad that we won't have to do it again. But yeah, we'll be a little bit more specific if we're ever going to come across the bar ranking segment again.
Fair. Hey, well done. Great list.
Guys, what a great time to be in the state of Iowa. Favorite time of the month. Football is right where we kind of predicted it would be early this season. We thought Iowa would have a little bit more of an advantage over Iowa State. It just got flopped around. But exciting times. Go have yourself a week. We got double night games coming up this weekend.
Woo, fire up, Iowa. Let's go. Let's have some fun. This has been a really fun football season. I like to think that Iowa's on the upward trajectory and Iowa State keeps rolling this week. I feel good about the boys.
Absolutely. So do I. I hope we come with the same energy next Monday.
All right, Nate, any sound offs?
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some street tacos here, and that's as exciting as a Monday could possibly get for your boy, because you know my obsession with street tacos.
100%. You're on a generational street taco run, and I hope that doesn't come to an end anytime soon. I hope you have a lot of fun. I'm pumped for Halloween segment. I'm pumped for some of that. That's still a couple weeks out, but just that the momentum and the excitement is building, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, I got nothing for you.
All right, until next week, y'all.
Cool. Peace.